Morning and welcome to Pod Up with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. John Cornell, Shane Matthews, every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. JC?
Yeah.
Gator Nation.
I tell you.
Rough game. But we said on this show, and I said I did not like the matchup.
No.
They have a bunch of NBA players.
Yeah,
they're bigger, stronger, more athletic than we are, and it showed last night.
Well, and you can see it on the court. I was down there literally on court at courtside watching that game last night, and Florida really came out of the gates great.
They made shots.
And they made shots. They were up 36-20, I remember, with the 6-minute mark. And, Blackshear was doing his thing, but then he sat with 2 fouls at that time, and that's when Mr. Perry showed up and started taking over the game. But really, it was the second half that Mississippi State, they couldn't miss. It almost seemed like they were making every shot. I think they shot somewhere around 70% in the second half to overtake Florida and win the game by 78-71 QB. It's their 4th straight win in the conference. But this Perry guy, he's only 2 hours away from Thomasville, Georgia. He had his mother and his sister in attendance last night, and he really played well for them because and his team because he hit threes. He hit he's 6'8" and he's out there tossing threes. He had 27 points. He was 9 of 14 from the field, 8 rebounds, and he, as I said, hit 3 3-point shots. And they win their first road game, and it happens to be at Florida. So the Gators have to rebound and regroup now as they get ready to take a few days. Take a few days to try to figure out what they need to improve on. Obviously, there's a lot of things, but I think the Vanderbilt team comes at the right time for Florida on Saturday.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
they're the worst team in the conference.
Mississippi State's won 4 in a row in conference play.
Yeah, they have.
And as I mentioned, Reggie Perry's an outstanding player. We can't match up with him. We can't match up with Robert Woodard. Tyson Carter's a guard that knocks down threes, and then Nick Witherspoon.
Very good player.
I mean, they are extremely talented, and some may say they're more talented than the Florida team. I know the Gator Nation, for whatever reason, looks at all the 5 stars that we have. But if you look at the LSU game, you look at Baylor, and then you look at the game last night, what's the common denominator of those 3 teams that we played? They're bigger, they're more athletic, and they're more physical.
Right, and they just look different. They just look older. They look like a little bit more mature of a team, meaning that Florida is young, and I think but in time they could be that.
They could, but you don't have – I mean, we've played 20 games now. The youngness – I'm not going to use the excuse that you use for your Alabama defense. We're playing a bunch of freshmen. Well, this is week 15. You know what I mean? Once they play about 3 or 4 games, we're done being young. The bottom line is I watch a lot of college basketball. LSU, Baylor, and Mississippi State. They're bigger than we are. They're more athletic than we are, and they're more physical than we are. It's that simple.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's – I guess when I say they're young, what I mean is that they just look younger. I mean, these guys from Mississippi State look like they were 22-year-old guys playing in the league.
Well, every one of them have been they're returning starters from last year's team.
Right. And Perry's only a sophomore, but you could have fooled me. This guy looks like a senior out there. And, again, he really kind of took over the game. The Gators, for their part, shot 58% in the first half. They were 8 of 14 from three-point line. And Scotty Lewis, I think, scored 10 of Florida's first 12 points. So he was on fire. And, they get out to a 16-point lead, and you're thinking, okay, this is going to be a good night for Florida. Get back on track after 2 losses. But they just, in the second half, could not stop this team. I think Mississippi State made 12 of their first 17 shots in the second half. And everything that they were throwing up in the first half that wasn't going in went in the second half. And, here's Perry. He's gotten 27 points last night. The game before that, he scored 23. The game before that, he scored 22, 26, and 27. And Blackshear, once he left the game in the first half, that's when Mississippi State, I think, found some confidence. And he left with 2 fouls at the 6-minute mark, and that just so happened to be when Florida was up 16 points. And then the lead just kind of disappeared. It just disappeared. So Florida loses, and now it's 12-8. QB, 12-8 in the league, and like I said, I think it's a good thing that the schedule maker has Vanderbilt coming up because I think that's a team Florida can handle.
There's 11 games left in the regular season. You got 2 against Kentucky. You got to play LSU again. You got Tennessee, and then you got a couple other teams mixed in there. They have to win. They out of the 11, they got to go minimum 8-3 and win a couple games in the tournament.
That puts them at 20-11.
But when we fell behind there with like 2 or 3 minutes to go, this was the perfect picture of how the season has gone. We're down 5, JC.
Yeah.
We miss a layup.
I saw.
A layup. We get a stop on the other end.
Yeah.
We're fast breaking, and we dribble it off our foot out of bounds.
I mean, I was like, what happened here? And I think that's when folks started getting the feeling that it just wasn't going to happen at that point when that ball went off his foot. So, I don't know. I'm just surprised. Mississippi State, they hadn't won a road game this year, and I just didn't see that this would be their first road win last night. But at the same time, when you look at that team on the court and when you look at them together playing, you can see a noticeable difference just in the physical nature of these teams that come in here. So Florida's got to regroup now, 3 days off, and hopefully we'll get it back on track at Vanderbilt. And I'm sure that they have to win that game to get some momentum back on their side. Last night had a pretty good night of SEC basketball. QB, did you watch any of that Auburn Ole Miss game?
I did. It made me stay up too late. Double overtime. Auburn comes back from 19 down in the second half, and they win. In Oxford. Also, Georgia blew a 20-point lead with less than 13 minutes to go in the game and lost.
And to Missouri, 72-69. Let's see, Texas A&M beat Tennessee on the road in Knoxville, 63-58. That was somewhat of a surprise to me. And for all you Seminole fans, your fifth-ranked Seminoles went down to the defending national champion Virginia Cavaliers by 5, 61-56. So that was kind of a surprise for me as well to see that happen. So here we are. Sitting at 12-8 with Florida, going to Vanderbilt on Saturday. Now, tonight, Vanderbilt will lose at Kentucky. They're a 21-point underdog in that game. So if you want to check out Vanderbilt, just watch that Kentucky game tonight at 6:30. They'll likely get hammered. A good game in Baton Rouge tonight is Alabama at LSU. And then you also have South Carolina traveling to Arkansas. It's another pretty good game. That's at 8:30. So that's our basketball news and notes in the SEC. Who we got coming today on the show, QB?
Well, at 8:15, we'll have former Gator and offensive lineman from the National Football League, Cooper Carlisle, join us. We'll talk a little bit Super Bowl, a little bit about the Niners and the Chiefs. And then around 8:30, we're going to have former Gator, national champion coach at Valdosta State, Kerwin Bell, joined the program. Let us know what he's up to these days. And, he was offense coordinator last year at South Florida. No longer there. Probably be taking an analyst job somewhere. Yeah, that's what these coaches do now. They take an analyst job for a year or so, and then, boom, they're back in coaching. So we'll talk with them here shortly.
Cooper Carlisle is a guy that knows all about the Chiefs, not this version of the Chiefs, of course, but with a career that extended, that was completed throughout the 13 or 14 years he was in the league at Denver and Oakland. He certainly saw all he wanted of the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium, so his perspective on Kansas City would be interesting, I think, for us. And then, of course, what he thinks will happen on Sunday. We talked about Pat Mahomes a couple times here previous to today, and this was a kid that was drafted 10th in the 2017 draft. So it's hard to believe, but it's true that 9 teams passed on him, including San Francisco, who I think had the second pick, and they went with a third pick, and they went with a defensive lineman named Solomon Thomas. And they needed to add a quarterback, and so they had their eyes on Kirk Cousins. And that class had Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. So that there were 2 guys that you see now starting in the playoffs that were in that draft that both the Chiefs, well, not the Chiefs, but the Niners passed on. The Chiefs eventually got as they traded. Chicago used the draft to draft Mitchell Trubisky. And so, I don't know, San Francisco traded that 2 pick to the Bears. They went after Mitchell Trubisky, and then the 49ers had the 3rd pick, and they went after Thomas, the lineman. And here are the Chiefs selecting Mahomes as the 10th overall pick in that 2017 draft. So it's an interesting dynamic that you'll see with him playing against that great defense, and what are they going to do to try to slow down this Chief quarterback and that offense, man? I mean, it's going to be just a great matchup.
Well, it is, and the more I think about it, the 49ers are a zone-based defense.
Yeah.
I think Pat Mahomes will pick them apart, and you cannot play. The 49ers do not have the secondary, the athletes back there to play man coverage against the Chiefs. Zero chance.
Zero chance. I think it's – but, what are the 49ers going to do? How are they going to do offensively, you think, with that Kansas City defense?
Well, I think it's a great matchup for them because the Chiefs'
works out well
weakness is their defense. But
they're not that bad.
They're not bad, but they're not great. I think Kyle Shanahan, his zone.
So you like the over in this game?
I think there's going to be a lot of
points scored.
Well, here's what the 49ers have to do. It's similar to what the Titans do, but if you watch the 49ers play, they're pretty methodical when they drive the football with their running game, play action to Kittle and to Deebo Samuel, Sanders, those guys. They're not a quick strike type offense. So I think if they can stay on the field, but every time put points on the board, it can cause the Chiefs problems. The Chiefs are so explosive. I don't know how the 49ers are going to be able to cover them.
Tennessee in that first half had the ball at some point for almost 10 minutes in one of those drives they had. Mm-hmm. And as soon as Mahomes and the offense got the ball back, they scored in less than 2 or 3. And Tennessee had the right plan to keep him on the sideline, wear him down, and they were up 17-7. Christina comes in with, "I wish you were wearing a Titans hat." I guess she's from and is from Nashville. Thank you for that. Titans were good. It was a great season for Tennessee. I think that Kansas City, though, it was meant to win the AFC. Getting that home field once we saw what happened to the Baltimore Ravens, that to me said, okay, it's their year. They're going to the Super Bowl. They're going to win 2 home games this time. They hosted the AFC Championship a year before and lost to New England. But this time there was no chance of them losing to Tennessee. And, hats off to the Titans for the way they played as the 6th seed. But San Francisco also, same thing. They were 1 inch away literally from going as a 5 seed into the playoffs because of the silly way the NFL does their playoff seedings and having to travel to Philadelphia. Not that would have been a problem. I think they would have beaten Philadelphia handily. But then they would have had to travel to Green Bay. And, that could have been tough. They didn't have to see New Orleans. So that was the team that I thought matched up best with San Francisco and could have beaten San Francisco. But New Orleans, laid an egg in their matchup. So it all just kind of fell in place for both these teams, QB. It fell in place for Kansas City, but it certainly did for San Francisco, getting that 1 seed, playing, at home in that stadium there in San Jose, or I guess it's in Santa Clara, but it's south of San Francisco. It's about 45 minute, 60-minute drive from San Francisco down to their home stadium, and there's really nothing around. So they won, and they are going. And Kansas City, I'm really excited about this game. We're going to have, I guess, are you going to go to a Super Bowl party, QB? Are you going to go find some friends? And
we'll see.
You're going to sit on the sofa and watch it.
Because usually when you go to parties, nobody ever watches the game.
I hate that.
Nobody watches it.
I know. I have to watch the game.
Yeah.
Gene comes in. Great guest lineup today, guys. Can't wait to hear what Kerwin is up to and Cooper's thoughts on the Super Bowl. And is JC planning on wearing the Chiefs hat all week? I will be wearing this hat. I am rooting for the Chiefs. But, QB, I had a friend in Las Vegas. I have a little ticket here. And this ticket is my wager on the game. And I took the 49ers. So I'm doing the opposite of what I hope happens. I'll be happy either way.
If you want to get involved or ask Cooper or Kerwin a question, you can text the Titan MRI text line 353-7465. We got a text here from Darryl. It says, "Guys, do you think this basketball team is immature with all the freshmen and sophomores? And how does Mike White get this team to play more physical? Does he just have to have to light a fire under their butts meeting with them?" Here's the thing. I like the talent on this team, but when I've watched other teams around the country and the last 3 opponents, as I mentioned earlier, they're bigger, more athletic, and more physical. And we are you can't just become more physical. It's something that you have. But you can we don't look the same as the other teams.
No, they don't. They look younger to me. They just look like they've got to get a little bit bigger, a little bit older.
It's not like Reggie Perry's real old, Jason.
No,
this is only his second year in the league.
It's true. No.
It's a disappointing season. You can blame the coach. You can blame this. You can blame that.
Well, it's not over.
I know that. It was looking great in the first half because of why? We made shots.
They made shots, and
if
they scored 36 points.
If you don't make shots in basketball, you ain't winning, folks.
No, it's undeniable. And you know, when you're up 16 at home, though, QB, you would think.
But
yeah,
how many basketball games do you watch? It's a game of runs.
It is.
Everybody makes runs. Auburn comes back from 19. We came back from 21 against Alabama. There was another game I watched last night. Somebody came from way behind. So basketball, once you get a lead, doesn't mean the game is over.
Sure.
The other team has scholarship athletes.
Certainly.
And they have coaches. No. So anyway, we're going to take our first time out of the day. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning. We'll be right back.
Time out. There we go. Good.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills.
Let's give them something to cheer for now.
Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security, small enough to serve you, large enough to care. Gators Dockside, wings, ribs, seafood, and beer.
Bob in trouble, gets rid of it. Oh, big hit.
Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility.
Our touchdown sponsors are Radware Promotional Materials, Doreen Weeby Realtor, Gator BTW, Campus USA Credit Union, Celebration Point Town Center, Miapa Latin Cafe, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, Adams Ribs, The Keys Restaurant, UF Mover Guys, Union Home Mortgages, Okido America Martial Arts and After School, and Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click on the Advertise button or call Freddie Weeby at 352-284-3733.
Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Still looking. He's going for the end zone. He's got a touchdown!
Celebration Point is where the Gators come to celebrate with premium brands like Bass Pro Shop, Nike, Palmetto Moon, Regal Cinemas, and coming soon the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We will see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators come to celebrate. Welcome back to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care.
And you can also remember to listen to the show on iTunes and Spotify and watch us on YouTube, Facebook Live, and potupwithshane.com. So we're ready to go.
We're going to jump to the Titan MRI hotline, and we're joined now by former Gator, former Kansas City.
What?
He played against the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a former Raider and Denver Bronco,
heavens,
Cooper Carlisle. Cooper, welcome to the program. How are you, my man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, guys.
Cooper, you played your entire career in the AFC West, and so you know all about Kansas City and not, of course, this version of the Chiefs, but certainly your experience playing Kansas City at Kansas City. Tell us a little bit about Kansas City, and what do you think is going to happen in this game on Sunday? Let's just get right into it there, my man.
Well, first of all, Kansas City is one of the best places to play. It's an old stadium. It's been there. I think it was built in the 60s. They've done some stuff to it, but it's kind of stood the test of time, and their fans are great fans, very smart fans. Mm-hmm. They try to put their team at the biggest advantage when they can. They're not out there cheering when they have the ball. They know what they're doing as far as fans, and they're passionate. As far as this game, I think it's going to be a great game. I think the two best teams are playing, which is what everybody wants. Offensively, I think they're both very, very good. I think the play calling on both sides is excellent, and I think it's going to be a great game.
Cooper, we're speaking with Cooper Carlisle, former Gator offensive lineman with the Broncos and the Raiders as well. Probably the second longest career as an offensive lineman as a Florida Gator in the NFL. Let's talk about, you played for Mike Shanahan, correct, with the Broncos?
I did, yeah. My whole career.
So his son now, Kyle Shanahan, has kind of taken what he learned under his dad. This whole zone scheme, run blocking. Can you talk briefly about it? And not all running backs play well in it. It takes a special type of running back that can see the cutback, right?
Yeah, it does. It's amazing that not all backs like it. A lot of backs like a gap or a power scheme, but seems like the ones can kind of grasp it. do really well in it. And everybody has some zone in, no matter what team it is. But the zone concept is just a little different than to run it well. You have to run it a lot, and you have to practice it a lot. But once you get it, it can be very, very effective. And obviously a lot of the play action and stuff is run off that. Kind of puts defenses in a bind that way. But if you're, I don't think Kyle called but a few passes the other night just because it was working.
Are you surprised at how successful they are running the football, San Francisco, and the fact that they ran it just about 90% of the time in that last playoff game? I think they only threw the ball 8 times when they beat the Packers. As an offensive lineman, I know that had to make you feel good watching those guys block, Staley and those guys they have up front. But are you kind of surprised at how successful they've been just running the football like that?
Yeah, as an offensive lineman, it's a dream game. But yeah, I think if you ask anybody in the world if they thought they could beat the Packers throwing it 8 times, I don't think they'd have taken that. But yeah, they're running it very effectively. The Packers just, they just for whatever reason didn't have an answer. Didn't kind of matter what they did. The back was making very good cuts, and of course a lot of times he wasn't getting touched till 10 yards downfield. But yeah, it was very effective.
We got a couple. We're speaking of Cooper Carlisle, former offensive lineman here at the University of Florida, played with the Broncos and the Raiders. We got a text here on the Titan MRI text line from Joe. He says, "Can you ask Cooper what it was like playing in the black hole?"
Oh, wow.
The black hole is unique. There's no other place like it. It's kind of sad that it's gone. Yeah. And I'm sure they'll have some version of it out in Vegas, but it'll be quite a bit different, I would imagine. Those fans are for you. Now they can be hard on you too when we didn't win games, but they're for you and they hate the other team, and they'll go to great lengths to let them know they hate them.
Well, do they hate the Chiefs more than anybody? Is that the biggest team that Oakland has, rival-wise?
Well, I would say anybody in the AFC West.
Yeah.
Probably Chiefs are really high. Broncos are really high.
Yeah.
And Chargers too, from being in the same state, I would say. And they hate San Francisco. They hate the 49ers just because it's such a local battle too. But you don't play them as much, obviously. But I would definitely say the AFC West are the hated rivalries.
Got another text here on the Titan MRI text line. Frank says, "Ask Cooper who is the meanest player he ever faced."
I like it.
Oh, I don't know who the meanest. I don't know who the meanest was. Sometimes the media kind of plays up these mean guys more than they can really do in a game. There's only so much you can do without getting penalties. I didn't worry about mean as much as very good. I'd rather play up against a bad mean guy than a nice good guy.
I would imagine Ray Lewis probably gave you some fits at times.
Oh yeah, there's tons and tons of good players. Certainly Ray's one of them. But meanest is kind of I don't know.
Well, thank you for the question anyway, Frank.
Sorry, Frank.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Niners defensive line, because a lot of people made a lot about, they have a great defense. John Lynch, the general manager there, they've built this very similar to how the defense he played for with the Buccaneers. Their front four, they don't really pressure a whole lot. They try to get pressure with that front four. And a lot of people think, great defenses beat great offenses. I disagree when Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback, because he can elude pressure. He likes to get outside the pocket. When you look at this game from an offensive line standpoint, can the Chiefs block this defensive line, in your opinion?
I think they can. It's like any other game going in. The Chiefs are built a little differently, right? That most people say, and it does benefit you to stay on schedule, right? It's a lot easier to pick up 3rd and 3s and 4s than 3rd and 7s and 8s. But they'll have some of those. But like you said, Patrick Mahomes can make stuff happen that most guys can't, and he's got weapons outside. Now, they will have to hold up against a very good pass rush, and the Chiefs, I think, I think they'll establish a running game in their own way. A lot of times they don't. They kind of, maybe a little bit like Coach Spurrier did, kind of free up the running game with the passing game, not the opposite way around, which San Francisco likes to do. So that's an interesting battle. But I do think they'll protect well enough for him to have a good game. I'll say that. I mean, I'm sure he'll be under pressure and duress at times, but I just don't think you'll be able to keep him, at bay for the entire game. He's going to make plays.
We're listening to Cooper Carlisle, the former offensive lineman for the University of Florida, also played in the AFC West his entire 13 or 14 years? How long were you in the league?
13.
13-year career, and giving us a Super Bowl preview here at 8:26. Who do you like? I mean, do you have a winner, or do you just think it's just going to be really hard to pick, and you're hoping for a good game? Do you have a pick for us, Coop?
I don't really have a pick. I
pick.
hadn't thought too much about it. I would imagine, I haven't even looked. I'd imagine the Chiefs are a little bit favored. Is that right?
They're a 1.5-point favorite.
Oh, I was very little bit. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I hope it's a good game. I hope nothing, I hope there's not a bunch of fluke plays and, outcome like that. I hope it's the best team wins, and it comes down to that. I don't know. I don't have a real prediction. I think
flip a coin then, Coop.
Okay. Oh, you want me to pick? I'm going to root for the 49ers, so I'll pick them.
Okay.
Because of the.
Well, you can't take the Chiefs. Oh my God, you're a Raider and a Bronco. For goodness
Yeah, I'm not.
sakes.
It's not easy to pick.
And you don't even like their helmets. They have a great logo and everything.
I don't. Those red helmets aren't there.
Coop, you're very, very popular here. We got a lot of texts. Couple more before we let you go. Bill says, if I can read it here. QB? His two-part question: what is Cooper doing these days? And then the second part of it: can you tell us a quick story of something that happens in the trenches? Because there's always a lot of smack talk and things going on.
All right, I got a funny story that it's too funny. I'll tell you one. One time we were playing since somebody asked about Ray Lewis, we were playing the Ravens, and this one I was with the Broncos, and we were kind of known for like the zone scheme. A lot of times on the backside of zone runs, you cut the guy, and you try to get the linebackers to cut them and create lanes. So we were playing the Ravens in Baltimore, which is a very tough place to play, and we had a zone. I had to cut Ray Lewis, and I thought I cut him, and I was thinking, man, I might have hurt this dude. And this is like about his MVP year or somewhere around there. And, you can kind of feel it when you make a good contact on the guy. And I was thinking, man, I might have hurt him because it was a pretty good, clean cut. And I'm laying there, you can't really tell. Well, I get up, and then I look over, and he had made the tackle for like a 1-yard gain. And I was thinking, well, I didn't hurt him.
No, obviously you didn't hurt him at all. Well, he's a Hall of Famer. What are you going to do, Coop? Well, what about the other part? What's keeping Cooper Carlisle busy these days?
Oh, I mean, I got several things going on there, JC, but I don't. Nothing keeps me too busy. I guess I got 2 girls that keep me more busy than anything.
Yep, you're a volleyball dad.
That's true. I'm running around practices and
kind of like an Uber driver almost, without getting paid.
Very true. Very true.
Last thing for you, Coop. Kyle Shanahan, about your age or a little bit younger?
He's a little bit younger. So when I was early in my career, he was still at Texas playing, and he would come to training camp. And I remember thinking, like, man, I can't believe this guy is taking his, before he goes to his college training camp to spend time in our training camp. But certainly he knew his career path. But he's a few years younger than me. I'm not sure.
Did you got any good stories about Shanahan since he's the coach in the Super Bowl for us?
Not really. He used to because I wasn't that much older than him. I would hang out with him some of the off seasons and stuff. But I like Kyle. He's a good guy, and it's amazing how well he's done. And he's still pretty young for a head coach. I don't have any great stories. Nothing.
Not that you can say right here, right?
We have one more text for you there before we let you go from Casey, and that is, will this be the year that Florida beats Georgia and wins the SEC East, Cooper?
I think we got a good shot. I mean, you never know how the year's going to play out we're in January here, so who knows? Well, I think we're going to be a good team. I'll say that. I don't know what Georgia will be. I'm sure they'll be very talented, but I like the Gators' chances.
Yep, no doubt about it.
Well, Coop, we appreciate you joining Pot Up with Matthews in the morning. Go gas up that truck. tote those girls around from volleyball tournament to volleyball tournament. We appreciate it, buddy. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
All right. Thanks, guys. Y'all take care.
All right. Cooper Carlisle join us on the Titan MRI text line. We're going to take our second time out of the program. We're going to come back. Hopefully we'll be joined by former Gator Kerwin Bell.
Awesome.
You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the morning.
Time out! Time out! Hey! Time out! Time out! Time out! There we go. Good.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills.
Let's give them something to cheer for now.
Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security, small enough to serve you, large enough to care. Gators Dockside, wings, ribs, seafood, and beer.
Bob in trouble, gets rid of the ball. Big hit.
Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility.
Our touchdown sponsors are Radware Promotional Materials, Doreen Weeby Realtor, Gator BTW, Campus USA Credit Union, Celebration Point Town Center, Miapa Latin Cafe, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, Adams Ribs, The Keys Restaurant, UF Mover Guys, Union Home Mortgages, Okido America Martial Arts and After School, and Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click on the Advertise button or call Freddie Weeby at 352-284-3733.
Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Still looking. He's going for the end zone. He's got a touchdown.
All right, here we go. Second part of the show. Hope you're enjoying it. We had Cooper Carlisle, former Gator, join us there recently. We'll have Kerwin Bell here momentarily, but you can remember to listen to this show on iTunes and Spotify. You can watch QB and I on YouTube, Facebook.com, and Pod Up with Shane. You can call or text your questions on the Titan MRI hotline at 352-353-7465. You can also ask us questions in the comments section on Facebook Live, and you can remember to watch all of our previous episodes of the show on podupwithshane.com, YouTube, and Facebook. Of course, we're looking for more businesses that would like to sponsor the show, and without sponsors, we can't really continue to do the show. So please share the show with your friends. Click the like button, and then the share button, so all your friends can enjoy us as we come to you every Monday through Friday at 8 o'clock in the morning.
And now we're going to be joined on the Titan MRI hotline by my good buddy, former Gator, former NFL, former Canadian Football
Gator,
League,
yeah.
former this, former that. He's coached at every level. Kerwin Bell, welcome to Pod Up with Matthews in the morning. How you doing, my man?
Hey, Shane. Good to see y'all.
I got John Cornell here.
Yeah.
Kerwin, where do we start? You've been a successful high school coach, winning state championships, went to JU, very successful there. Then you move over to Valdosta State, win a national title there. And then you take the offensive coordinator job at South Florida and Charlie Strong. I think a lot of us who have watched you coach realize you didn't have the talent that you needed there at the quarterback position. But just talk briefly about what happened at USF and what you're doing these days.
Well, it was a tough year. Shane, it's something that you sort of pride yourself as a coach to be able to adjust and find a way to make it happen, even in some tough situations. But it goes back to really that quarterback room. It's getting crucial nowadays in college football that you stay up on that. Right before I got there, and it wasn't nothing to do with Coach Strong. I mean, he had two guys who sort of wanted to go because of the transfer portal they wanted to go and play, and they were experienced guys behind Blake Barnett, and they decided to transfer. And all of a sudden, now you're left with an experienced guy, senior Blake Barnett, but you have a guy who's probably going to be fourth string going into the fall. Now he's the backup, redshirt freshman. Yeah. And so what happened, sure enough, it's just the perfect storm in the opposite direction happened where Blake got hurt. And all of a sudden you're playing a freshman who really should be, getting a few snaps, probably play maybe his second or third year from there, sort of developing. And now he's, Jordan's out there trying to play, and he and the big thing is we were not just great around him, So now all of a sudden you got a young kid who's trying to learn his way. And on top of that, your best player on the field is suspended for 9 games out of the 12. 8 or 9 games out of 12. Our left tackle, we lose him the last 4 games of the season, who's our best offensive lineman against the 4 best teams in our conference. So it was just a culmination of things where you're trying to stay ahead of things, Shane, and it just seems like every time you try to get ahead of it, something else happened. But listen, it's all on you as a coordinator. You got to get it done. We didn't get it done, and but it was a tough situation. I had one other time in my career so far where this has sort of been the situation. That was my first year in college football at Jacksonville University. We weren't very good. We were not very good. Didn't have the line, didn't have the receivers or the quarterbacks. And we went 3-8. We went and got some players, and we turned around, went 9-3, and won the conference there at Jacksonville in our second year. That just shows you, listen, you got to have ball players, but the big key nowadays, especially, is that you've got to have that quarterback position. And you got to have some depth there. And because of these transfer portals, you got to make sure you stay ahead of the curve, because if you don't, you'll get yourself in that kind of situation.
So where does the Kerwin Bell career go from here? Is a year off in store for you? Are you looking actively? Are you not? Is anybody calling you? Anything that you can add to us to follow?
I've been talking. Yeah, I want to stay at this level. I know I can do it. I know I've got a good system that we run. But listen, it's a situation we got to let go, and now you're trying to find the right fit. I've talked to some people go down to FCS or those situations, which I don't right now want to do those things. A great situation that's an option also is Coach Mullen. Man, he's been great. He's they have some senior analyst jobs available. And it's an opportunity to come in and sort of reset yourself as a coach. Listen, develop. I think you always have to develop yourself as a coach and keep learning. And and have an opportunity to help the Gators. With I had an opportunity to go meet with Todd, Coach Grantham, and man, he was great. It'd be a situation where I'd go in and sort of help as a senior analyst with defenses offenses and what they're running against them, and sort of help game plan in that situation as an analyst and help do those things. So that seems like a great opportunity to be with a great program. I love the way Dan runs this program and what he's done at the University of Florida. I think they're going to have a great football team. One thing I'm really just being a Gator fan is that, man, he seems like he's got those guys really dialed in on winning a championship. You can just see by what they say on the media, social media. The guys that are, deciding to come back, those guys that they're recruiting, all of them have that mentality. Hey, it's all about winning the championship. So they're locked in, and that's an option right now that I'm really considering, because I think it's something good for my career.
We're speaking with Kerwin Bell here on the Titan MRI Hotline. Kerwin, we got a couple of Facebook Live questions here. One from Rick. He says, Kerwin, what happened to Kobe Weiss last season? He did not kick in some games. Was he injured or what?
Yeah, Kobe had I think a groin injury that he pulled, and that was a game. We had a game. There was a couple games there. Georgia Tech, we lost right at the end where we went across the end zone. They said we fumbled before we went across with Jordan Cronkite, who's actually a former Gator, early in the year. And then we also, the Cincinnati game was probably Kobe's. We missed him the most. We Cincinnati went 11-2 or something like that on the year, and we had them 17-17. They kicked the field goal at the end of the game, but we missed 4 or 5 field goals in that game. And Kobe was out for that game because of the injury. So he had a groin injury, and we had to go to a freshman kicker. So that put us in a tough situation.
Thank you for the question, Rick. Also, as a former quarterback, and of course that's your expertise, what do you see and what do you like about Kyle Trask, and what are the things that you would like to see him get better at?
Well, I really like his poise. I like the way he gets through his progressions. You can tell he's a real intelligent kid. Throws a really nice catchable football, which Shane I know loves. But
Hey,
they do a good job.
Object is to throw completions, my man.
That's right. Ain't that good? But listen, I think Dan does a really good job. What I really like about what he does is and I said it earlier, we try to pride ourselves as coaches of getting your players in the best position possible to be successful. And man, he does a really good job, of making sure that he puts his players in the best position. Don't ask too much from them. Just try to find their strengths and play to their strengths. And I think he's done a really good job with that. They got some outstanding receivers. This really helps him. And he's done a really good job since he's taken over.
Kerwin, we got a text here on the Titan MRI text line from Daryl. He says, could you ask Kerwin what his most memorable game as a Gator was?
Ooh. Well, I tell you, probably the only one anybody remembers me by is the Auburn game. So, after being gone that many years, but that's the one when you look back and say, there's surely for me there was a lot. The first Georgia game was an unbelievable experience, but that Auburn game in 1986 to come off the bench. And my career was sort of, I got hurt and hadn't played well that year, but came back in the Auburn game and was able to pull that thing out. We were able to come back and win that game 18-17 against a team that I think was number 2 or 3 in the country, and score, I think, all 18 points in the fourth quarter. That was pretty great. It's something that you'll always remember.
I remember that. I remember that game, and I remember watching you play. Did you get coached? Did Kerwin coach you often?
Kerwin was my first year playing under Coach Spurrier in 1990. That's where I met Kerwin.
Okay.
Kerwin was a graduate assistant under Coach.
Okay,
that's how we became friends.
Cool. Well, Kerwin, listen, we wish you all the best.
Well, I'm not done with it.
Oh, well, keep on rolling then. I didn't know if you were done or not, Kerwin. Heck, stick around, Kerwin.
Well, Kerwin, obviously, you and I love the quarterback position. We can't let you go without talking about the Super Bowl.
Oh.
So when you watch the Super Bowl, who do you think's going to win? But have you ever seen a quarterback as special as Patrick Mahomes?
I tell you what, Shane, he's definitely sort of is taking that position to another level. His ability to improvise and to make throws down the football field with accuracy, and those things are something I think he's sort of taking the game to the next level with. He's amazing at those things, and he don't look like he runs really well, but he makes unbelievable plays with his feet. And extends plays, and then on the run, he can make some unbelievable down the field, big time throws, and I think that's what separates him as a quarterback. But he seems like he's in a great offense. That offense that they've run there with Coach Reed seems really tailor fit for what he wants, which is they've done a good job of really using his strengths, which is attacking the field down the field vertically with him. They've got some great receivers to do that with. And so they're a team that's going to be around for a long time, and I look for him to have a great career.
How well do you know Kyle Shanahan at all? Because I know you're pretty close to Mike.
Yeah, no, I didn't know Kyle very good. He was really young and hadn't had a chance to be around him any. But, man, we talked about this, Shane. He's one of the best I've seen, being able to play call and just
so good.
And know when to, to play action pass, and he gets the run game going. He gets that combination of the run game and the play action pass, and he does an outstanding job of putting his players again in the best position to be successful.
We got a text from Pat. Pat ask Kerwin, your son Cade played quarterback for you at JU. What is he doing now?
Yeah, Cade was with me and played quarterback, and then he became a graduate assistant. He's just sort of a clone of me. He loves football. It's all about ball with him. I don't know how he got his degree because he loved playing football so much, and then he got his master's. I'm like, he never thought he'd get that much academically accomplished, but he just loved ball, and became a graduate assistant at Valdosta State and got his master's, and helped me a great deal there at Valdosta State. We were able to win the national championship in 2018, and came with me to South Florida as a quality control. hated it last year because he couldn't coach on the field and couldn't recruit. And so Jerry Odom, who, was my defense coordinator at Jacksonville for a while, is now the head coach at Tusculum University. And Jerry was looking to get his offense going there. And he's bringing Cade in. Cade's running our system up there. He's recruiting his butt off here in the state of Florida now. And he's excited. This is his first really full-time where he can go out on his own and get it done. So I'm excited for him, and I think he's going to do a really good job as the OC up at Tusculum University.
Pick the Super Bowl for us, Kerwin. What do you see?
Well, I think both teams. Listen, they're both. I think they're the best two teams in the National Football League, just by what I've seen. I hadn't had a chance to see a whole lot of pro football, but San Francisco is probably one of the most talented teams as far as just all around football teams, defensively, offensively. They can run the football, they throw it well.
Yeah.
So they're a tough matchup, but I'm an offensive guy, and I think when it gets to that stage, who can score? And I really like I think the big key is the pass rush. If they can somehow keep Mahomes to be able to make some throws, I think he's gonna make enough to win the football game. I'm gonna go with Kansas City. I think they're a team that got there close last year, and I believe they got a chance to win it this year.
No, a lot of NFL guys are obviously rooting for Andy Reid. His second try at the Super Bowl, he lost with the Eagles against New England, but here he is once again back, and everybody seems to love Andy Reid. He's one of the most popular people in the league, so I guess sentimental favorite would be Andy Reid. You mentioned Kyle Shanahan and some of the great things that he does. Do you think that perhaps when they were winning that Super Bowl and he was the OC in Atlanta and they were up 28-3, his DNA was to continue doing what he was doing and be aggressive? But if they had just run the ball maybe more, I don't know. I just don't know how they lost. What do you think he learned in that Super Bowl, and how is he applying it to San Francisco? Because I think it has probably something to do with the way he's running the football with the 49ers right now, but that's just a theory. What do you think?
Well, I think you learn every year. Like I was saying earlier, you got to learn as a coach if you want to continue to grow and develop. And, he's learned a lot from that. But, listen, I think he's just playing to his strengths. He's got a very physical football team. They run the ball extremely well.
Yeah.
I think for what they have, that's their strengths. They then can play action off of that, and that seems to be a really good part of their throw game is the play action pass. So I think that's what they want to do. That's what they want to establish. The only reason I'm going with Kansas City is I think defensively you've got to have a championship defense if you're going to win. I told our defense at Valdosta State, if we're going to win a national championship, we have to have a championship defense. And sure enough, they made enough plays in that championship game for us to win the national championship in 2018. And I see Kansas City's defense doing that. I think they've grown a lot here in the last couple of years. And I think they're the kind of defense that can, I think for 49ers, if you look at defensively, they're probably a little better. But I think Kansas City has enough defense now to win the championship for them.
All right, Kerwin, we appreciate you joining the program. We'll be looking out to see and hope you join the Gators as an analyst. Thanks for joining the program, my man. Take care.
All right. Appreciate y'all.
All right. That's Kerwin Bell joining us on the Titan MRI hotline.
I sure liked him, man. I just liked his offensive mind. He was a guy that I was pounding the table for years ago on the radio to be the offensive coordinator here at Florida. And I know things didn't work out that way, but and he wanted to be a head coach, so he did. Who did they beat at Valdosta? Do you remember when they won it in 2018? Who they beat?
I want to say
I can look it up, but
I think it was the team out of Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe a team out of Texas.
Right.
I watched it. I can't remember.
Where was the game in? Where did they win it? Where was
that little stadium?
Right there in
Frisco, maybe.
Oh, Frisco, Texas. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was in Frisco. It's where the Cowboys train, and it's a great little town in North Dallas, in the North Dallas area. That was good, man. We had Cooper Carlisle, we had Kerwin Bell picking the Chiefs. Cooper picked the Niners, and Kerwin went with the Chiefs. Did he not? Oh no, Cooper didn't pick anybody. Yeah, he kind of backed out on that, but Kerwin went with the Chiefs. You're going with the Chiefs.
We go with offense, baby.
Listen, I want them to win, but I got something here that says they're not, which probably will lose, so you're going to be happy.
I mean, I don't really care who wins, but I just have a hard time
You like Shanahan too, though, dude.
I mean, you're
really
a Shanahan guy. I think, like I said, if somebody said, okay, you get to own a franchise.
Yeah, who are you going to start?
Well, two of the people that I'm starting with are in this game. Kyle Shanahan's going to be my coach.
And you'll beat
Pat
everybody.
Mahomes is going to be my quarterback, and we're going to win every Super Bowl from here on out. It's simple.
It's so easy. I mean, just like that. I love it. Well, listen, they are excellent at what they do. They're a great team. And thank you guys for the text messages and also for they beat Ferris State. Thank you, BJ.
Which
BJ,
I think is that
Ferris
I
State.
want to say they're Minnesota.
Could be.
You're supposed to know these
Well,
kind of
I don't
things.
know about Ferris State. This is a division I don't really keep up with, although I am familiar with
Taylor, look up Ferris
Valdosta
State.
Taylor, look up Ferris State. Thank you for that, BJ. Appreciate that. Who else? Somebody texted me about the
let me see where it is.
The Democrat, my man up in Mississippi.
Says
there.
this is the Democrat. I like your front runner hat.
Well, I'm a hat guy, okay? I'm a hat guy, and I thought when I bought this hat, it had nothing to do with Pat Mahomes or them winning. It had to do with this logo. I love that logo, the Chiefs logo. In fact, there's
like the Fort White Indians
or the Clinton Arrows in Clinton, Mississippi, and no doubt. Rick says I was in Arrowhead in 1973 for there it went. I don't know. Ferris State is in Michigan. Thank you, BJ. I was in Arrowhead in 73 for the Pro Bowl when Booby Clark was Rookie of the Year. Was at a dinner with him and Ray Guy and the rest of the rookies. I hope they bought you drinks, Rick. Thank you for that story. Listen, I think this logo here is just one of the coolest logos. I mean, Cooper said he couldn't stand those red helmets, but this is just a great logo. 50 years since Kansas City has won a Super Bowl, and it's been a long dry spell for that team and that franchise and those fans, and they are great fans.
It's
a great fan base, and you got the privilege of playing for Buffalo, and they had a great fan base.
Well, I would say I'm trying to think right off the top of my head. My two favorite
fan bases
stadiums to play at they were like a college atmosphere. Or as Arrowhead in Kansas City. And Green Bay.
Oh, Green Bay and Lambeau. Wow. Did you mention to me once that Cleveland Browns had some really cool fans? They were really crazy.
They had the dog pound.
Yeah, so that had to be exciting. And, of course, obviously we brought up the Black Hole in Oakland, which no longer will be there, but they'll have a version of it, I'm sure, in Vegas because that place is phenomenal. Absolutely amazing. They and the Rams are moving into new stadiums this upcoming season. And, of course, the Chargers. And they will be sharing that stadium in Los Angeles. They're right where the old Hollywood Park used to be. That was a dog track, or was it a horse track? Anyway, it was a track, and they knocked it down, and Stan Kroenke put up this unbelievable place with a glass roof. And so that's going to happen in Los Angeles, and of course the stadium in Vegas is just phenomenal. I've driven by it. It's just a big black circular thing, and it looks beautiful.
Are you going to become a Raider fan now?
Well, I do love their shield. I think that logo is great too. I'm a logo guy, QB. I am. I love logos. And so thank you, though, Democrat in Mississippi, for watching and listening and, of course, joining us here as we do every Monday through Friday at 8 o'clock. So I think, we'll give us – you want to do our prediction on Friday, of course?
Absolutely. We're not going to tell people who we like today. On tomorrow's program, we're going to have Buddy Martin, longtime Arthur. What else did he do?
He won't hit the snooze button on the alarm clock.
Yeah, we'll call him. He does Gatorbait magazine. He's got all kinds of stuff, but he's been writing for years. Yes. And then we're gonna have Ricky Nattil, former Denver Bronco. Right. Mm-hmm. I was thinking, because I know Ricky very well. I was thinking, did he play for Mike Shanahan? But no, he was Dan Reeves was his coach.
Yeah. Remember the three amigos, Vance Johnson, Ricky Nattil.
Was Shanahan the offensive coordinator for that team?
He might have been. No.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, we'll find out. Who were those three receivers? They had
Vance Johnson, Ricky,
and who's the third guy? He'll tell us. But
the three amigos.
Yeah, the three amigos. They were really good. Denver never won a Super Bowl, though, with him. And it wasn't until later in John Elway's career that they won their 2 Super Bowls. So good stuff. Good show today, QB. And here we are, over the hump, going into the latter stage of the week.
Well, we started talking football. Get away from Gator basketball. Well, it is what it is right now.
We opened the show with that, and what else can you say? Mississippi State just came in and
Mississippi State's a better basketball team.
Right now, yeah.
Well, I just think they're bigger, stronger, more physical.
Well, maybe Florida can get back on track Saturday at Vanderbilt. That's going to wrap it up for Pot Up with Matthews in the morning. I'm John Cornell. We will be back again tomorrow, same time, same channel, same place. We'll see you then.